right. Positive energy all the time. Good to see you all. Gonna be a late night. Later on tonight, I'll be talking about breakups and relationships. Ooh, okay. Breakups and relationships all night tonight. Later tonight, that's gonna be fireworks. To my late night squad. Insomniacs, I got love for you. I ain't forget y'all. I'll come on for y'all sometime too. Right? Nocturnal insomniacs, where you at? So I come over for you all too. All of y'all that's got relationships, all you brothers and sisters that work the night shift, all of you great people around the world that live in other countries and now it's daytime. Much respect to everybody in Las Vegas. Let's see where everybody is from. I am representing the rack, where it's really racking and it's cracking. Let me tell you. Oh boy. Oakland, California is in the building. Ogun, my brother, salute to the God. Rock Hill, South Carolina's in the building. D'Angelo, he not playing no games. In the SC, South Atlanta. Shout out to everybody in the ATL, one of the great black cities in the country. I'm really proud of ATL as far as how much they moved up. Great city. Y'all keep pushing black people down in Atlanta and Georgians in general. The Bay Area's in the building. San Francisco all day. I'm going to be up to San Francisco soon. The beautiful Ivy Dreams representing South Central, my second home. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Yeah, and I love Los Angeles. Atlanta's in the building. The West Coast is in the building. Yeah, I love Los Angeles. Los Angeles is my second home. Fresno, California. Hopefully, when I get back to LA, I hope I don't be too disappointed in how much has changed. Baton Rouge in the bill. I cannot wait to get to Louisiana. Louisiana is probably my top state to go to that I haven't been to. I drove toward the tip. You know, you're traveling, said you got to get to other state and you drive through the tip, but you don't get to. So I drove through the tip. I drove through the tip of Texas. Well, no, I was on the train and they had a stop in Texas, but it was like one of them 30-minute stops, use the restroom, buy some stuff, and get back on the train. But Louisiana is really on the top of my list. I would say the main place I got to go between Louisiana and Texas. I will put Texas a little over Louisiana, Texas, because I go to Texas, I get to see Houston, Dallas, and the other cities, you know. So Texas is going to have a benefit because I get to see more of the brothers and sisters in more places. And then Louisiana. Yeah, Texas, I got to get to Texas. You know what I'm saying? I met a couple of females. I almost moved to Texas. I ain't going to lie. I kept meeting these really tall, beautiful women, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, is this what's going on in Texas? Everything's big in Texas. I'm like, man. But, you know, you have to concentrate and hustle on your own. Rough Buff, good to see you. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's in the building. Alabama in the building, my parents' home state. I love Alabama. Alabama, Alabama. When are you going to be traveling Louisiana? I will be in Louisiana looking like the end of 2025 or maybe early 2026, depending on how much more I get written in this book and what's going to be the process for printing, all my publishing and stuff set up. And so I got a ways to go with the writing. Oh man, I got a ways to go with the writing. It's going though, but I got a ways to go because I got to go all the way through. Then I got to go back. Uh, oh, it's gonna be fire though. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire. You know what I'm saying? Me, he said, got them Latino women. I've been with various women from various places, and I gotta have a black American woman. I've been with women from all over the world, and they're beautiful. They are, but I gotta have a black American woman. It just, I feel like a woman from somewhere else. We ain't got a whole lot in common, so I gotta work through that. Through that, you know what I'm saying, I sure will, Ray. So yeah, I gotta have a black American woman. Sometime I will talk about that tonight. Sometime when the brothers talk about they want to get a woman from somewhere else, it almost seemed like traitors and it almost seemed like stereotyping. Like you've been with a couple of black women and now you stereotyping every black woman. Because I just talked to somebody like that and it's like black women here is that. And I'm, well, how many you been with? Okay, 7, 5. How you gonna make a decision based on the few women you've been with? That's just crazy. But we'll talk about that later on. I wouldn't say I would get along with them culturally. I would just say I wouldn't have to get along with them culturally because we the same. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I could date anybody. Don't get me wrong. I could date a sister from Africa. I can, you know what I mean? That wouldn't be beyond that happening because life puts you around people and that's how you end up in a relationship. So say I go somewhere, it's the African queen there, she's beautiful, we hanging out, we going, doing things, we fall in love, we start having sex, and she my woman. My opinion is based on basically I'm in Chicago, it's just black Americans everywhere. So even the odds is that I would have to pass up, I would have to be prejudiced against black American women to be with a any type of foreign woman because I would have to pass up all of the black American women that's right there to find this few. So I would have to have some type of discriminatory mentality. Because where I'm gonna find an African woman or a Jamaican woman or something like that in Chicago when I go out, and Chicago's mostly black American. So I would have to be like have this weird bias. Like I can't see myself having a bias. Like I can't see myself going out thinking, I don't want to talk to no African woman or no Caribbean woman. I wouldn't have that mentality. I wouldn't have that mentality, that discriminatory mentality, because who knows? I could date end up dating anybody. But typically, culturally, it would be more natural for me to be with a black American woman. It'd be more likely to meet them. It would be less acquaintance that we have to get acquainted with each other's culture. it would just be a smoother situation. And then when you deal with somebody from another culture, people from that culture think they got the right to try to talk to your woman. We'll talk about that later because my brethren used to go down to Jamaica and get these women and bring them back. But Jamaicans was always in their white face in their face. And a lot of them lost them wives back to Jamaicans. Because sometimes these people, they start to long for their culture. And when they start longing for their culture, they'll cheat on you or they'll go. I got white dudes too that married women from Poland. And his wife ended up cheating with a guy from Poland. Because you're not from Poland. You white. But as soon as she get around her own Polish people, she cheated on her with a Polish dude. These are our facts. You was rocking with the realest alive, right? Support the channel. You know what I'm saying? Support the channel so that I can continue to push the line. Okay? So support the channel so I can push the line. And tonight we talk about reparations. And I'm talking about reparations because it is something we want. So a part of my duty, I feel, is to make sure every so often I'm talking about reparations, whether I want to or not, whether I have a subject or not. I think it's my responsibility to keep reparations in the discussion, in the algorithm, because I am definitely 1,000,000% for reparations for foundational Black Americans. So that's what we get ready to talk about for sure. If you want to know more about reparations, or if you just want to support my efforts, please go follow me on TikTok at PayBlacks, okay? PayBlacks, all right? Go follow at PayBlacks. Get some information. I'll tell you something else too. When your children is around, and sometimes you know how your children run around and you be like, listen, okay, you need to sit down and learn something. So if you want your children to sit down and learn something and you got to go search the TV, go to YouTube, or TikTok, right? TikTok, go to TikTok because this stuff's not on YouTube. This is on TikTok. Go to TikTok or go to Instagram, right? Or even you can go to Facebook. Everything is at PayBlacks. So go to PayBlacks and put these videos on and make your children watch them for at least 30 minutes, an hour if they've been bad and they not doing good at school and you want to teach them discipline. Make them sit down and hear what these Black politicians and these Black historians are saying, because this is some of the greatest information you're going to hear anywhere, all on one channel. And even you adults, when you ain't got nothing to watch, go over to PayBlacks on Instagram or TikTok, either one, and watch all this beautiful information right here. It's some information over here blow your mind. I ain't gonna lie, because it's everything over here. It's news and it's history. Ah man, it's some fire. Oh man, it's fire. At PayBlacks, go check that out. It's fire. So I'm here trying to keep the conversation about reparations alive. We want our reparations, right? Because we've done a lot. And a lot of people want to know, well, reparations from where? And it's like reparations from the government. Reparations from the government. That's from where? From the government. Because I feel like the government definitely owes us money. And I feel like if these companies didn't do right, whose fault is it? Who's responsible? And the government is responsible for what goes on in the country. And there's a lot of corporations owe us money, but it's up to the government to get together and put everything together and go and get the money from them, and for every state that was involved should have to pay for that to make that right. And a lot of blacks, you ain't standing on business.
13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number one, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, two predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number two, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number three, Wachovia. "13 corporations that profited from slavery." So here we go. Number one, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, two predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number two, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number three, Wachovia. "13 corporations that profited from slavery." So here we go. Number one, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, two predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number two, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number three, Wachovia. "13 corporations that between 1831 and 18."
I don't know why that keeps freezing. Let me try again later. It keeps on freezing for some weird reason. But that just to show you how many companies was involved with the slave trade. Some big companies, some huge companies was involved with that. And I think it's just a shame that that's allowed to happen and there's been no penalties for that. And I think it's just a horrible historical fact that this country did not never make that right, you know. And I think a lot of black Americans that's not pushing for reparations, I think they're a disgrace too. I think they're a disgrace. I think if you're a black American and you're getting against reparations, I think you're a disgrace. I think you're a disgrace. Like that's not making a lot of sense. Not really. That's not making any sense because how could you go against something that's a debt owed? You understand? And all these debts are owed and they haven't been taken care of. And the worst thing about it is the idea that it's too late when the people that should have collected it was under oppression. So it's just like, oh, that ain't making sense. Okay, so the people that was under this is under Jim Crow and oppression. They can't even go to certain stores. But you saying they should have got reparations way back then? That's the problem. Understand? Because reparations supposed to be coming to the first generation that's free enough to ask for them. You can't say it's too long ago when everybody before now wasn't even free enough to ask for it. There's been no situation where Black Americans could get together and push for reparations. You know what I'm saying? This is the first generation that could do it because this is the first generation that really got social media like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. This wouldn't have been easy to do on MySpace or Facebook or Twitter when it first started. It's not until they start getting these live streams on these phones where you can go live and see your face, that's going to be the best promotion. So really, this is the first generation that could really promote reparations hard. And to say that was a long time ago, and to say it was way back before we had the power to get it is disingenuous. All right, MD, it's disingenuous. And I'm not understanding why these content creators don't at least speak on it every now and then. They're not saying nothing. We got so many people, they want to go down the middle so they don't lose nobody on either side. So they trying to be politically correct, which is horrible because they trying to go right down the middle, which is horrible for our people. And we're not really standing on reparations, which I don't understand. I don't get it at all. I can't see it. You know, I can't say it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. And all these big companies was involved.
This is 13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number 1, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, two predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number 2, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number 3, Wachovia. Two historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Number 4, N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. I have a list of this, so if I stumble, it's because I have a lot of chicken scratch. Number 4, Norfolk Southern, offered slaveholders $180, that's $3,379 today. This article was written in 2013. So that's $3,379 today a piece for enslaved Africans they would rent to the railroad for 1 year. The Central Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued slaves at $31,303. Today that would be $663,033. Did I say that right? Yes. $663,033. Hopefully that came out right. Sounds weird. Number 5. U.S. Today found that their parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, had links to the slave trade. Number 6. Fleet Boston evolved from an early financial institution. Providence Bank founded John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. The bank financed Brown's slave voyages and profited from them. Brown even reportedly helped charter what became Brown University. Number 7. CSX used slave labor to construct portions of U.S. rail lines under the political and legal system that was in place more than a century ago. 2 enslaved Africans were John Henry and Reuben. The record states they were to be returned clothed when they arrived to work for the company. Number 8. Canadian National Railway Company. The Mobile and Ohio, now part of Canadian National, valued their slaves lost to the war and emancipation at $199,691 on record. That amount is currently worth $2.2 million. Whew. Number 9. Brown Brothers Harriman, the oldest and largest private investment bank, founded 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Number 10. Brooks Brothers, high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothes to various slave traders in the 1800s. They got their start by selling slave clothes. Number 11, Barclays. British multinational banking and financial services company headquartered in London, has now conceded that companies brought over the years may have been involved in the slave trade. Number 12, Lehman Brothers. This business empire started in the slave trade. Quote from Joe Pelizotto: "This is a sad part of our history or our heritage. We're deeply apologetic. It was a terrible thing. There's no one sitting in the United States in the year 2005, hopefully, who would ever in a million years defend the practice." 13. Aetna. Aetna? Aetna. U.S. largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. Aetna has long acknowledged that for several years shortly after its founding in 1853, that the company may have insured the lives of slaves. A few other people a few other corporations, companies that profited from slavery: Princeton, Harvard Law School, Tiffany & Co., Bank of America, Yale University, and Wells Fargo.
So that just shows you everybody knows who got the money. The government knows, not everybody, but people in government know. So they're just playing a nut roll. It's all historically laid out. And it's just a shame that black Americans are not pushing like they should. We don't have enough people pushing, so that's why I'm taking time out my night to push the issue of reparations for black Americans. This is something that just absolutely got to have. It's got to happen. It has to, because this country will never be, ever go forward. What's up, Dre? Without that being taken care of. That's going to always be on the table. And that's never going to come off the table. That's never going to come off the table. And I think, I can see other net races going against it, but I can't see no black person going against it, whether they're a black American or from the Caribbean or Africa or whatever, South America. I can't see that. It's bad enough because even white Americans shouldn't go against that, but it is what it is. But if you're not going to be honest about history and you ain't going to be about reparative justice and you don't want to repair what you did in the past, then you're going to keep doing the same thing. You're going to keep doing the same thing because you're not sorry and you don't recognize the damage and you don't want to teach the damage that was done. So you don't want to teach the damage that was done. You ain't going to try to repair it. So denying the damage is a way to not have to repair it. And that's what a lot of these people are on. They don't want to repair the damage that was done. They want to pretend no damage was done and we just behind because there's something wrong with us. When we're behind because we got cheated to be behind, and then getting cheated to be behind, we'll make something wrong with you. If you deprive a dog or anything, it'll make something wrong with them. And so what black America's been through, you talk about, you trying to act like something wrong with it, but you already know that you one of the main causes. The system is one of the main causes. This level of oppression and hate. Can you imagine just going somewhere and somebody just hate you? They don't understand that. White America don't understand that. They'll go someplace and somebody hate them, but don't nobody just hate no white people like that. You ain't gonna see no black person come out their house ask a white man, why is you out here delivering over here? I ain't never seen that before. I ain't never seen no black person, no black woman come out of the house and harass the UPS driver or the FedEx driver like I be saying white people do. Black folks don't do no crazy shit like that. Not that I never seen. All of the Karen incidents be these people with this weirdo stuff. Like I just seen a black girl and the police pulled her over and said she was walking on the wrong side of the street. Y'all seen that video? Man, listen. Say she on the wrong side of the damn street. Do you hear me? Do y'all hear me? I ain't never heard of nothing like that before. I've never heard of that before. I never heard of walking on the wrong side of the street and being detained by the police. And she was looking for a dog 2 houses down. So if I'm looking for my dog, I gotta run wherever the dog is at. I can't look for my dog and stay on one side of the street. How do you do that? How do you look for your dog and stay on one side of the street? Can anybody answer that? Can anybody tell me that? I'd love to hear that answer. And see, that type of behavior being condoned in the country is absolutely going to ruin the country. It's a bad look for the country. It's a horrible look. I mean, you want the world to see you like that ridiculous like that? Come on, man. So we got to fight for reparations and we got to fight for some type of justice, man. We cannot let this we can't let this system just be like it is, where it only benefits certain people based on the color of your skin. Come on, man. Come on. Like, what is this? Still the 1960s or something? No, they never was charged for shooting him. No. No, they're never charged. You know what I'm saying? They never charged. A lot of times they get off. They want to let Derek Chauvin off. They want to let him off. For sure. They want to let Derek Chauvin off. And it's like, this is playing out. You know what I mean? This is corny. It's corny. America's going to have to do better than this. Because this kind of stuff here, it ain't no way you can have no prosperous country like this. I don't know who think the country would do well acting like that. It's obvious the country would do bad. Look at this. You tell me.
Groves Police Department can't walk while blacking grows. Groves Police Department can't walk while blacking grows. Can't walk being black and grows. Can't walk being black and grows.
Here's the traffic code. Here it is. That's the violation.
Can't walk while being black and grows.
That is not true. I'm showing you the traffic
Can't
violation.
walk while being black and grows.
She was not walking on this side of the road.
What does it matter?
It's a traffic violation.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's in the traffic code. I'm showing you, sir.
It's not a traffic violation.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Can't walk while being black and grows. They don't like black people in groves. Are you detained? Oh, she's detained for being black and walking in groves.
She was walking on the wrong side of the road. We're trying to tell you guys.
Walking while black and groves. I don't care. Give her a ticket. It ain't gonna stick. Walking while black and grows. Walking while black and grows. Yep. Walking while black and grows. They don't like black people. He's white. He's good. Go ahead, white man.
Make sure you stay on the right side.
I am.
Stay on the right side.
I'm on the right side.
Make sure you walk on the right side. I can't even look for my dog, y'all.
Walking while black and grows. This is ridiculous. Nothing better to do.
And she's looking for a dog. She lived 2 houses down. She's looking for a dog. When you come out the house, you're going to look on your side first because the dog is probably going to run up and down there before the dog run across the street. So I come out my house, my dog ran away. I'm looking for it. The police come. Instead of the police saying, oh, come on, let's help you find it, the police tell me I'm on the wrong side of the street to walk, but I'm not walking. I'm looking for my dog. My dog could be on any side of the street. How you keep your job like that? You're supposed to serve and protect. So you think that those officers would give us reparations? No. They wouldn't respect it even if it was right. And this is the country we live in. It's a whole bunch of them in the government that's just like them officers, a whole bunch of them. And they're just like that. And they would be the first people to call you a racist when you call them out. It's the most, it's like a bad nightmare when you get a certain age, you realize you in the United States, and they say, "Well, other countries is worse." Okay, all right, that's true, but you don't want to steal or you don't want to live in bad just because there's worse. You don't want to live in a dirty house just because you ain't in a dirtier house. That makes sense. Like, oh, it's more dirtier over there. What that got to do with this house? More dirtier. That's what America be saying. That's crazy. It's more dirtier in the other places. It's like, yeah, but more dirtier. Why is we dirty? You know what I'm saying? What? It's crazy. So we're pushing for reparations. We want our reparations for everything we've been through. We've been through a lot in this country. And reparations is definitely needed. It's not no joke about our reparations and what we want for what we've been through. And ain't nobody really pushing it like they supposed to. You know what I'm saying? We got some people pushing it, you know what I'm saying? But not like it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Yvette Carnell is pushing it. She pushing it. Tariq Nasheed, he pushing it. The Black Diaspora News, they pushing it. Vicky Dillard, she pushing it. Her and the other sister, they pushing it. But it's still not getting the push it's supposed to be getting, though. That's the one I'm tripping on. Especially the black man. The black man not really pushing reparations. It's just crazy to me. I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand why that's not nothing that's being pushed more often. Especially something everybody gonna line up to get once everybody else fight for it. That's what makes it so bogus. Because once everybody fight for it, guess how many people gonna try to jump in line? Everybody gonna try to jump in line when somebody else do all the fighting. That's not cool. Like it ain't no noise being made like it's supposed to be. To me, I don't like the level of the push for reparations. I think it's embarrassing, to be honest with you. I think it's embarrassing. People look at us and say, oh, black people don't stick together. We ain't even pushing for our own stuff. How we not pushing for our own reparations? Somebody tell me something. Break it down to me.
On our own 2 feet, we do need help because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us.
Real talk. So I got to keep pushing, though. Ain't nobody else pushing. I got to keep pushing for reparations. Reparations, we want reparations now. Summer and spring is coming, and this summer and spring, man, put on your reparations gear, man. Put on T-shirts, everything that say reparations, okay? And you got to push the movement, and you could just push it just by how you dress. That's how you could dress a certain kind of way. You could put it on and wear it. You know what I'm saying? Wear it on your chest. You know what I'm saying? Wear it on your chest. because we need to be pushing it a lot harder than we pushing it. And shout out to everybody that is pushing it out there. Yeah, shout out to everybody out there that is pushing it and pushing it hard. You know what I mean? We ain't playing no games. Just reparations now. We're not playing no type of game. Okay, we pushing the line, and it's continuous. We don't got no deadline on it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no deadline. We pushing it. Reparations, get your gear too. So yeah, we don't want to take our foot off the pedal. This is going to be a long fight, and so we got to get some people that know this 2, 3 to 5 years. It's going to take some time. But if somebody keep pushing, then it benefits the next generation. If you keep pushing, and the next generation got to try to do it the next generation. And we ain't going to keep kicking this can down the road. We finna push to make this happen. Okay? This whole thing with racism and Jim Crow and slavery, this has got to be finalized, just like everybody else. This has to be finalized. Period. You know, we can't keep kicking this can down the road. Like, that's not gonna happen. Okay? We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. We want to get some results. And, you know, it's a shame so many of our people is weak when it comes to that type of stuff. You know, I don't know what to tell you about us. You know? I don't know what to tell you. Seriously. We just don't be standing on our square, especially the black man. Like, he don't be standing on his square. Like, how you let all these other people get reparations and you don't, and you cool with it, and let these people rob your ancestors like that. I'm tripping on that. Like, people actually robbed your ancestors and know they robbed them and say it every now and then in their books and stuff, which is just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. I can't understand it. You know what I mean? And we got all these people that just go along with it, and it's like, come on, how long y'all gonna go along with this here? When are you gonna stand up and really ask for what we supposed to get? All the evidence is there that all this stuff happened, so I'm confused. I'm not sure how you can have so much evidence of all this stuff happening and nobody don't want to do nothing about it because we black, and just sit there and let them do something for everybody, which is crazy to see black people speaking against something when they and watching everybody get something. How do you sit there and do that? That's the part I'm not understanding. None of that. How do you sit there and do that? Somebody explain something to me. What's up with that? It makes it look like other races are stronger than us. That's what it makes it look like. Like we the only ones don't have ourselves together. That's what it looks like. It's very embarrassing. Very. And I'm like, what's wrong with the black man? Are these other men stronger than the black man? Are these other men, everybody stronger? Make some sense. What's the difference? I can't figure it out for anything. It's just like embarrassing. You know, all you bet good for is partying and running around. And when it gets to something serious, everybody run to the corner. Then we get weirdos want to argue. Every time we try to do something, you're going to get a whole bunch of black men that want to argue it down. And it's like, that's what you do with your life. Wait for black people to want to do something to come to shoot it down. That's your life. That's what your life is made of. Intercepting anything black people trying to do is that's your whole life. That's what you want to be famous for, doing that? Seriously? Make that make some type of sense. How does that make any sense at all? Yeah, somebody told me something. None. That, how do you be as a race of people, and then especially as a black Americans, how do you be so soft? How do you be so soft in front of all these other nations? It's one thing for you to be weak and don't think you want reparations, but it's another thing to show people around the world that you a simp and people can run over you and you don't want to be. You don't want your fair due. You want to blow it off and basically let the world know, oh, you can run over us again and we ain't going to do nothing. And that is not a good message to be sending out in the world historically. When you look at the world historically, that's not a good message. Not at all. And I don't know how a black man or black woman against reparations even look at a picture like this and feel any good about themselves to let these people stood up and got theirs. And if you look at some of these Native Americans, how Native American are they? That's another question. But look at these people getting their reparations. And look at black men. So many black men hating on reparations like Slim Thug. Get out here and say that crazy stuff in front of these people. You know, how you get out there and say all that stuff against your own black people and tell somebody that your own black people don't need to get something. He a disgrace. Straight up. Slim Thug is one of these brothers that when he make it, he want to act like everybody can make it. One of the biggest false things is anything out here that you make it in, you know everybody can't make it. Anybody that's honest know that most of the things you make it at, a lot of people can't do it. So to turn around and act like everybody could do what I could do is some of the most phoniest behavior in life. To put that attitude, oh man, it's out there for everybody. Go out there and get it. No, it's not. You have to have a certain mentality and all that. You have to be born with certain stuff. You have to be in the right situation for certain mentality and all that. You ain't always fortunate enough to even be around nobody with no knowledge. So how you gonna get some knowledge if you ain't around nobody got none? Make that part make some sense. If you ain't around nobody have no knowledge, where you gonna get it from? I think stuff like Instagram and YouTube is misleading people because you see these people on there giving knowledge, but when you get back off of there, ain't nobody giving no knowledge. Nobody walking down the street tell you nothing. There's no wallow gonna run up to you on the street. In real life, in all these cracks and crevices, you in some place in Kentucky, you in some place in New Orleans, you in some place in California that don't necessarily even be the big city. Everybody don't live in the big city in this state. The state is full of little cities and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And your people trying to get something and you saying, no, call yourself a businessman. Like Dr. Umar saying, black folks ain't gonna do mess the money up, but he been collecting money, ain't open the school. How can you be any type of businessman and be against reparations for black Americans? Soon as you're a black man or a black woman in America and you're against reparations, tell me right there, you have no business sense. Because what businessman wouldn't want to have more customers? So the first thing you think about is the white business gonna get the customers. Boom. That's what Dr. Umar think about. If you get reparations, you're gonna run to all these white businesses. You know why? Because Dr. Umar is an idiot. Because when they say they're gonna give us reparations, that'll allow blacks to set up businesses to catch a lot of that money. So if you know how to fish, you're gonna catch some money. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me that if reparations get out here and they're going to give these black people money, so ain't none of y'all going to try to get none of that money? Is that what the teachings is? That black folks just going to spend. Black folks ain't going to try. Black folks trying to get money now. What kind of fake teaching is that? That all of a sudden people ain't going to be trying to sell stuff and hustle. More people going to be trying to sell. More black people going to be trying to make money if you give reparations. Duh. Black folks don't be trying to make money because you ain't got no money to make no money with. So you can't take the mindset of black people right now that ain't got no investment money with the same mindset if they can get some investment money. Like, who won't smoke over this conversation? I'll embarrass you. You can't say black folks ain't doing business, won't want to do business. They don't got the money. Now you got to be a fool to say they get the money and ain't nobody all of a sudden going. A lot of people gonna want to go in business if they get that money. Are you crazy? Who's crazy to think that black folks gonna get reparations and don't start businesses? What fool? What fool? Based off how black people are, they ain't got the money to think about starting. Sometimes they think about business, they ain't got the investment money. So you're going to look at people that ain't got the investment money and try to make a judgment on what they're going to do when they get the investment money? Think about it. With no investment money, we got a lot of black people trying to sell stuff. Well, what, am I the only one living in the real world? I'm the only one seeing sisters making. Shout out to the sister with the batana oil, Azure, Azure, right? Black people trying to make money now. I'm confused because a whole lot of black people is making money off of me. Soap, I'm buying soap and everything for black folks. I swear to God, they making money off me. I don't know what y'all talking about. Some of these black people, they're going to do real good. Come on, what are we talking about? So this sister that's making it like this, she ain't going to be even better. 100% batana oil, y'all. This is what you need for your hair if you're having a problem with hair growth. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the queen. Get your batana oil. 100%. This the real deal. This ain't the fake. This the real to the real. This ain't the fake. This the real. Tell the Pharaoh sent you over there. I got 2 jars of it. The other one's put up. That's why I got to open this one. You can tell it's that real. See that darkness? Remember Dr. Sabi tell y'all this what you need for your hair? Dr. Sabi approved. And this the real. Okay, this the real batana oil. Wow. For thicker, fuller, and healthier hair, ladies and brothers. There you go, right there. Right? For more of this type of information, make sure you subscribe to Vegan Intel, okay? Subscribe to Vegan Intel. So, and tell everybody subscribe to Vegan Intel on YouTube so that, boom, you can get some knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Get some knowledge. You need to always be watching something that's encouraging you to eat right. But this situation with reparations, we got to step on the gas. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure why we're not stepping on the gas harder. That's what's confusing me. Like, why we not all the way stepping on the gas really hard? Does anybody know why? Why aren't we stepping on the gas harder? Does anybody know? Tell me something, because, man, we supposed to be stepping harder on the gas than this. You know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Now, be sure your seatbelts are on. This is the nation we live in. Our present is the result of our past. The thinking, all those things were influenced by the past. Listen to this. Much scientific and statistical rhetoric was used to justify slavery. One 1840 census proved that blacks living under unnatural conditions of freedom. Listen to this now. That blacks living under unnatural conditions of freedom in the North were more prone to insanity. Dr. Edward Jarvis, a specialist in mental disorders, used this to conclude that slavery shielded blacks from some of the liabilities and dangers of active self-direction. See, this is how you have been looked at. The census was later found to be a racist facade in that many of the northern towns credited with mentally deranged blacks had no black inhabitants at all. In 17, now this one, you educated folk, you college graduates, you psychologists and psychiatrists and sociologists, listen to this. Love y'all, but listen. Just want to get your attention, because this is going to blow your boat, not out of the water, off the planet. You're going to be in orbit. In 1797, the father of American psychiatry, Dr. Benjamin Rush, whose face today still adorns the seal of the American Psychiatric Association, declared that the color of blacks was caused by a rare congenital disease called nigrotide. It would be funny if it wasn't so sick. It would be funny if it wasn't so sick. And I apologize, I mispronounced the word. It's nigritude. Congenital disease. Your color is caused by a disease. And it derives from leprosy. Now watch this. Rush said that the only evidence of a cure was when the skin color turned white. Using disease as the reason for segregation, Rush drew the conclusion that whites should not tyrannize over blacks, for their disease should entitle them to a double portion of humanity. However, by the same token, whites should not intermarry with them, for this would tend to infect posterity with the disorder. Attempts must be made to cure the disease. Whoop, there it is. You black folk didn't know your skin color was a disease. You didn't know that, did you? Well, thank God. Watch this. Watch this. Thank God we have a God who believes in divine healing. And so he believes in the healing of disease. So black, come off of him in the name of Jesus. Come out, black, in Jesus' name. Be healed in the name of Jesus. I guess you don't have no faith, my brother. You still the same color. He's hoping and praying. Woo! I wonder when they're going to find a cure for it. Based on this assumption, everyone who is not white must have this disease to varying degrees. The black man's skin color is a disease. That's the best I've heard yet. If you think this is bad, let me give you another little tidbit of historical information that will definitely straighten your curly hair. Did you know that when the Constitution of the United States was originally drafted, black people were not even considered a whole person? Reading from the Constitution of the United States, under Article 1, Section 2, Number 3. It says, representatives and direct taxes. Now, this was altered by the 14th Amendment, way down from the original, but I'm talking about in the original, okay, when it was first drafted. So I want you to understand that. It doesn't say that today, but that's how it started. Okay, it says representatives and direct taxes, altered by the 16th Amendment, shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed 3/5 of all other persons. That's talking about you black folk. You were considered as 3/5 of a person by your founding fathers. I don't need no father like that. I'd rather be an illegitimate child. Now, this has been altered by the 14th Amendment, so it doesn't read like that today. I'm going back to the beginning. Okay, I want you to see how it started, because the beginning is what fostered all the other things, see. There have been some changes made. The only reason they made the changes is because it was protest. If nobody had protested, the things would have stayed as they were, and that meant then that was their original intent. All right, that's how we were thought of at the time of the drafting of the Constitution, 3/5 of a person. That means that in the eyes of those who formed this country, black people had very little value as persons. That is a low blow. And even though that part of the Constitution was amended, how many people after that, and even down to this present time, still think that blacks have very little value? Not everybody, we know that. I said that 15,000 times, I'll say it again, so don't get personal on me. Devastating damage has been done to the black psyche through the years of slavery and Jim Crowism. It needs to be fixed. Now, listen to this. In the Emerge magazine, February 1997 issue, on page 44, 45, 48 and 49. I'm going to just pull these things out and read them all together, okay? There is a right on article entitled Righting a Wrong by Laurie Robinson. The article is extremely thought-provoking. I quote, Americans have difficulty dealing with the crime of slavery, so much so that much of what is generated now in terms of the conservative atmosphere is undergirded by people who want to forget the past, who want to overthrow the responsibility for the past, who want to deny that legacy and its consequences. End of quote. Walters, this is in the same article, Walters says, this person is Ronald Walters, University of Maryland political scientist. Walters says, quote, there is a direct line in terms of the consequences many black people still suffer in America today because of slavery. End of quote. That reparations is attracting more attention comes as no surprise to some. This is the writer of the article. See, she quoted some things that others had said, and then she went on with her own storyline, okay? That reparations is attracting more attention comes as no surprise to some African-American leaders. For African-Americans, the need is obvious. Now, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name because I know I'll mess this up. I don't have any idea how this is pronounced. So I want to give deference to the person. The name is Aiyetoro. Says, and this person's name is Adejoa Aiyetoro, is director of the National Conference of Black Lawyers. Quote, the purpose of reparations is to repair a people for a significant harm that was done to them, and particularly done to them by a government. End of quote. she says, apparently this is a lady, she says one of the issues, quoting, one of the issues that we deal with every day is that the vestiges of our enslavement and post-enslavement treatment in this country has been such that it has beat us down as a people in so many ways. Part of standing tall as a people is to say, you owe me for what you did and you need to pay. End of quote. Robert L. Woodson Sr., the conservative founder and president of the nonprofit Washington, D.C. based National Center for Neighborhood Enterprise, couldn't disagree more. Quoting him, "It's a waste of time and energy to be talking about reparations for something that happened so long ago." End of quote. He goes on to say, quote, "Why aren't we concentrating on going after sources of funds that represent our own money?" End of quote. The author of the article goes on to say, "But one reason many African Americans haven't forgotten about the promise of 40 acres and a mule is that so many other people are collecting for past wrongs." Now, I'm getting ready to read something. You got your air sick bags with you? Do you have your air sick bags with you? This is sick! On January 12, 1865, 3 months before the Civil War officially ended, Union General William Sherman and Secretary of War Edwin M. Stanton met with 20 black ministers in a Savannah, Georgia church. The ministers told them that freed blacks needed land to sustain themselves. Sherman then produced a document dated January 16, 1865, which designated land for African Americans. According to his special field order number 15, I quote, "The islands from Charleston south, the abandoned rice fields along the river for 30 miles back from the sea, and the country bordering the St. Johns Rivers, Florida, are reserved and set apart for the settlement of the Negroes now made free by the acts of war and the proclamation of the President of the United States." End of quote. Of the 4 million newly freed blacks, about 40,000 would settle there, assuming they could become permanent owners. The original Freedmen's Bureau Act, passed by Congress on March 3, 1865, granted land, quote, "to every male citizen, whether refugee or freedman. As aforesaid, there shall be assigned not more than 40 acres of such land, and the person to whom it was so assigned shall be protected in the use and enjoyment of the land for the term of 3 years, at any annual rent not exceeding 6 per centum upon the value of such land. At the end of said term, or at any time during said term, the occupants of any parcels so assigned may purchase the land." End of quote. The following month, 5 days after the Confederacy surrender, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. His successor, Andrew Johnson, vetoed an amended Freedmen's Bureau Act in February 1866, which still called for 40 acres for loyal refugees and freedmen, but changed the terms of the Bureau's commissioner, changed the term so the Bureau's commissioner could determine the cost of rent, and returning whites could repossess their black occupied land. The Freedmen's Bureau Act that finally became law in July 1866 made no mention of 40 acres. To the contrary, it called, now get this now, it called for restoring land about 800 150,000 acres of abandoned and confiscated real estate to former white owners, many of whom had been accused of being traitors to the Union and were pardoned by President Johnson. End of quote. This is history. But they didn't teach you this in school. Oh no, they didn't teach you this. The writer of the article goes on, I don't think black people really understand reparations, says David H. Swinton, a Harvard-trained economist and president of historically black Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina. Quote, they think it's somehow radical and un-American. End of quote. Nations are paying damages for injuries and wrongdoings with land and money. Making amends or giving satisfaction for a wrong or injury, as reparations is defined, is a standard practice in international law. The United Nations negotiates it. Some nations even give it without prodding from foreign governments or institutions. Now, listen to this. Yeah, Dad, blame it, I am angry. Not at you, not at you, not at any person. But this is just unfair. In 1976, Australia gave its indigenous Aborigines more than 96,000 square miles of land after having appropriated it during European settlements in the 18th and 19th centuries. 4 years later, Canada compensated Japanese Canadians with $230 million for World War II internment, and indigenous peoples with 673,000 square kilometers of land after 13 years of negotiations over land treaty claims. In 1995, Austria promised Jewish Holocaust survivors $25 million. And about 10,000 people have received payments of $7,000 each so far this year, the year 1997. Iraq will begin paying $300 million for every $1 billion in oil revenue to victims of the 1990 Kuwait invasion, according to terms arranged by the UN Security Council. Now, there is some truth to those who argue that the modern debate over reparations was spawned during the formation of the State of Israel, says LCCR's Henderson. Declared a state in 1948, 6 months after the United Nations voted for the partition of Palestine, Israel was forged on 8,020 square miles of land, some of which was occupied. In 1952, Germany began giving reparations to survivors of the Jewish Holocaust. By 1980, the amount totaled $58 billion in today's dollars. Reparations, in fact, is very American. Since 1971, when indigenous Alaskans received nearly $1 billion and more than 44 million acres of land through the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. Ethnic groups who have suffered mistreatment at the hands of the United States government have been demanding reparations, and except for African Americans getting it. Everybody else gets it but us. Oh, I hope I got time to get to this. You ain't heard nothing yet. During the 1980s, 5 Native American nations were paid sums ranging from $12.3 million to $1.1 billion for stolen land and broken treaties. Talking about Indians. Most recently, the Clinton administration attempted unsuccessfully to win reparations from Cuba through the intervention of the UN Security Council for shooting down last February 2 civilian planes believed to have violated the nation's airspace. The Japanese-American redress movement has become a model for African-American reparations activists. Raymond Jenkins, a Detroit activist known as Reparations Ray, says, everybody thought it was a joke for years, thought I was a crackpot. They laughed themselves to death. And when the Japanese got their $20,000 each, then they stopped laughing. The 1988 Civil Liberties Act provided a formal apology, and this nation has the unmitigated gall, the audacity to sit in chambers and discuss whether or not they should apologize to black people for raping them for 400 years. Listen to this. Now see, we read it, all unrighteousness is sin. America is paying heavily for its sin. Japanese people who lived here in the United States, Southern California area, they shipped them out, put them in internment camps during the Second World War with Japan. After the war was over, through negotiations, they received every person $20,000 each and a formal apology. And our government, our nation, is wondering whether or not they're deciding whether or not they should apologize for enslaving blacks in America. Now think about this. Now this is what I'm talking about. See, this nation is wrong. I'm sorry. This nation is wrong. Now watch this. Listen, here's why they're wrong. Here's why they're wrong. They won't even apologize to the best citizens that they've ever had. Now listen. It wasn't black Africans from Nigeria that flew over Pearl Harbor on December the 7th and declared war on the United States of America. Approximately 3,000 plus Americans were killed by the Japanese on the day of Pearl Harbor when Japan declared war on the United States of America. And then after that, they gave them $20,000 apiece and apology for declaring war on them. And black people have been the most loyal people to the United States. They have never, ever declared war on the United States. Never. Listen. We have been the most loyal people to this nation than any of the immigrants that ever came here. We have fought in every one of America's war and then got treated like dogs after it. And then the nation has the gall to decide whether or not we should apologize to them. Maybe we ought to declare war on them, and then maybe that'll get them to apologize. I mean, right is right, doggone it. Right is right. That's just downright criminal. That's just downright criminal. We have fought in every single war. We have been butchered and destroyed and shot up and come back to this country and couldn't even get a job. Just because we were black. And you say you're going to decide whether you apologize? In God we trust. What God? Where is right? Where is right? Justice is not only blind standing on the courthouse of this nation, she's brain dead. And then some black folk got the nerve to talk about we shouldn't talk about reparations. We should let it go. Poor, simple-minded fool. Here, listen. We don't, hear me well. And you FBI and CIA folk that are listening to this, listen well. Listen well. We are not, watch my lips. We are not asking for anything special. We're just asking you, out of the milk of human kindness and Christian love and charity, just treat us like you did the Japanese who declared war on you. Just do that. Just do that. Just do that. We don't want nothing special. Just treat us like those that declared war on you. Black folk have never declared war on you. And you talking about you're going to sit down and discuss whether you should apologize for 400 years of slavery? Oh, boy. Oh.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of serious reasons that we should be getting reparations. I mean, it's clearer than day. I'm not sure what's going on. You know, everybody else gets theirs, but I don't know why the black man don't stand up for his. I don't know, but it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? We should be pushing the line when it comes to reparations. Point blank, period. You know, we should be pushing the line. It's like it's no way in the world that they should be just overlooking black Americans. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. I don't see that no kind of way. How you gonna let them overlook you? I mean, make some sense. Like all black people should be pissed about that. Like, you gonna let them just overlook you like that? Even if you don't want reparations yourself personally, you should be pissed that they're gonna overlook your people. You know, you should be pissed about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure how you wouldn't be pissed about that. That's not making no sense. Like we should be pissed. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we just take that type of stuff. I'll never understand that. It just don't make it makes no sense. It's like what's going on? How you just letting people run over you like that? Just on principle, you know, when you let somebody treat you like that historically. You know, that don't make no sense to me. You know, we supposed to be pushing. We supposed to be pushing. I don't get it. But I'm staying on it constantly. I'm not weaking out. And you know, when you are dealing with reparations and you out there trying to push reparations and you run into Black Americans that don't, you got to kick them out your circle. You got to block them off your social media. You got to kick them out. You got to kick them out. Don't waste no time arguing with them. We got to build a strong circle of us that's pushing reparations. Anybody that's not pushing it, that want to come and talk against them, block them. So we can build a strong movement. You can't build a strong movement and let opposition come into the movement. You have to keep opposition over in their own movement so that their movement look weak. The Black Americans that's against reparations, let them start against reparations movement. But don't let them come in our movement, come on our pages, come on our social media and say the opposite on what we pushing. Block them. Block them and kick them out so that we can build a strong movement. You cannot build a strong movement highlighting your opposition. Your opposition got to highlight their own self. You understand? Because me, I ain't even talking to them. I don't even want to talk to no Black man that's not for reparations. Any Black man that let this happen and let your ancestors go through this and you don't want nothing, you a lame. There ain't even nothing to discuss. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you're going to let that get a pass, when you're the first generation to stand on something, you a lame. You a lame. Why would I even waste my time talking to you? I wouldn't give you the time of day. Why would I argue with you? I won't have no respect for you. I'm not going to have no respect for you if you let that ride. I'm going to tell you straight up. If you're a Black person, I ain't got no respect for you if you ain't want reparations. If you can look at this and don't feel like Black Americans owe nothing, you can't be in my circle. If you can let this slide and don't stand on something for these people in this picture, you can't never be around me. I'm gonna keep it a billion. You couldn't. If you don't feel something when you see that picture and feel like you're supposed to stand up for them, man, listen. You could never be around me. We would never have no debate at all. For real, I would never talk to you. I wouldn't waste 1 second talking to you. Not one. On my soul. I'm telling you. Ain't no way. Ain't no way I'd even want to talk to you. You'd be a total disgrace to me. Why would I argue with a total disgrace? You know what I'm saying? If you could look at this picture and don't feel like you need to make sure you speak up for them. And I'm talking about Black folks. You know what I'm saying? He said, you don't want reparations, it would destroy your community. You know what I don't want? Is you over here. That's what I don't want. See? I get what I want. Goodbye. I'm not listening to no enemy try to tell me nothing. What's your name? Vince. Vince. Psh, jump the fence. Ain't nobody listening to you. Bye. There go your answer. This is what I'm trying to tell my subscribers. Don't even talk to them. I don't even want to talk to you, Bob, out the circle. When you're trying to push something, you don't waste no time with opposition. You spend all your time building the movement. Dealing with opposition is just, that's not building. You know what I'm saying? That's just somebody, that's the distraction. That's what I'm saying, my dreams. That's Ivy dreams. That's what I'm saying. It's a distraction. That's it. It's a distraction to stop you from building. This not just for reparation. This is in life for you young people. In life, you got to understand you're trying to go this way. A lot of people that'll start arguing with you is trying to make you think about this way. How long you want to talk to them when you're trying to go this way? If I'm trying to get reparations, why would I waste 2 minutes with somebody that don't want it? This don't make no sense. So when you're trying to get not just reparations, you're trying to get anything in life, stay away from people that don't believe you can get it. Stay away from them or talk against you getting it. Say anything other than something to encourage you to get it. What you doing? You were lame if you come over here talking against reparations. So why would I talk to you? You were lame. You against reparations. You see a page that's for reparations. You want to come all the way to something that ain't on what you on to say reparate. No. You were lame. You were lame. You ain't got a life. Get a life. Why would you go somewhere that's talking the opposite what you believe? Just to say you don't believe it. As if all the people over there care what you say. So if I want reparations, I care what you're saying. If you say no, no. And that's how we got to act. We got to show these people we don't care about the opposition. Get out of here. Get out of our circle. When I make videos about reparations, sometimes I take them so I can spread the knowledge. Like the video I just showed. That was for informational use. That wasn't to get views. That wasn't to take views away from them. That was solely informative. That I was used specifically to help get my point across. Okay. And so I'm not going to go try to help nobody else get their point across the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Y'all don't ever do that, young people. You only deal with what you're trying to push. Because there's people that you can be converting for your side while you arguing with somebody that you ain't going to never convert. The object of a movement is to convert more and more supporters. If you some guy that's hell bent on us not getting it, you're not a supporter. Our job is to make you disappear. Not to give you more social media presence, to give you no social media presence. Get off my page. Get off my page. Get off. Make them get off all. If they not on no reparations page, they got no presence. You say, I don't understand why Black American, Pan Americans are against us delineating for reparations. Well, we're not really delineating just for reparations, but yeah, they don't like us delineating because they don't understand what delineating is mostly. So I don't know how you could be a Black American and don't want us to delineate from people that's already delineated. Because Africans are already delineated, but people that's against it is just stupid. Nigerians are Nigerians. They're not Black people. They don't look at you as the same. So them people, I won't waste time talking to them either because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? A Nigerian does not look at an Ethiopian as the same. He's Nigerian, he's Ethiopian. As a matter of fact, a Bantu, even the tribes don't look at each other as the same. They this tribe, they that tribe. So once again, I'm not going to be arguing with nobody about us delineating because our job is to get more people to delineate. So it's like, you want to delineate? Oh, cool, sign here. You, sign here. You know, okay, you. That's what you would do in real life. If you were trying to get people to sign a petition, you'd be like, would you sign my petition? They say, yeah, you have them sign. You say, would you sign my petition? You'll say, yeah. Would you sign my petition? This one say no. You'll just go to somebody else. You're trying to get signatures. You're not going to sit there and argue with them for an hour, because in an hour, guess how many people could have already signed up to say yeah. So don't waste no time arguing with somebody against reparations. Find more people for reparations, and get rid of your opposition. You never promote your opposition. If you come over here, you get reparations, you're going to be blocked on StreamYard before it even gets to YouTube. You'll never, because my StreamYard that I'm on now, y'all not hearing me in real time. Y'all hear me like about a second or two ahead of time. So when a hater come over here post against reparations, I delete it. You might not never see it. Because I'm not here. I'm not going to promote. I'm not going to let nobody promote the opposite when I'm promoting. If I'm for President Johnson, I'm not going to have you come over and say, vote for President Richardson. I'm going to delete that. This is Vet President Johnson page. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? This is vote for President Johnson page. I'm not going to let you come and say, vote for President Smith and argue with you over President Smith. I'm going to get you out of here and be Johnson. Johnson. And you got to figure out where you're going to talk about Smith at. Not over here. So if you anti-reparations, go find an anti-reparations page. It's real simple, because that's what I'm on. I'm on reparations, and everything I play is for educational purposes, okay? It's for educational purposes. So I don't want nobody to think that I'm playing this stuff for nothing other than educational purposes. That's it. So that we can push reparations. We need motivation about reparations, okay? Motivation. About reparations. Everybody know we're supposed to get it, but us. Why we don't know? Tell me that.
White folks, have you asked the why of slavery? It was deliberate and intentional enslavement of a people with identifiable skills to grow an economic empire. An economic empire was built on the backs of African Americans through their forced free labor. Do you understand what that has meant for those that were enslaved and for generations since then? They have been denied the wealth they created. Our economic empire was built on the backs of African Americans through their forced free labor. Those enslaved and their descendants of chattel slavery have been denied the wealth they created. 4 million African Americans who had been enslaved and robbed of everything were promised 40 acres and a mule, a broken promise. They were released and given nothing. White slave owners were given reparations for the loss of their property. Then you have the black codes, convict leasing system, Jim Crow laws, all to keep black people in an inferior caste system politically, economically, socially. When are we going to stop hiding behind the lies of white body supremacy?
Real talk. There's a lot of people out there pushing. They pushing for reparations. A lot of people. And we got to stand on it just like other people. We got all type of people that are pushing for reparations for us. And we got to do the same thing. We got to push.
As we face this critical election year, we need to hear more about the things that our community on King Day, what's being done and what are the goals and what are the achievements for our community, not just black faces in high places. We love all the African American Supreme Court sisters, or our sister in the Supreme Court, and all the other cabinet members. We love them all. But what about the masses of our folks? Recent polls by black folks so that we care most about racial justice, economic opportunity, policing, voting rights, and education reform. Not war in the Middle East.
Good, sir.
Not funding for Ukraine. Not abortion rights. Not even immigration. Don't even come in the top 5, none of those in black folks' concerns. Not one of those are within the top 5. So you got to talk to us about that. You have to talk to us about economic justice, which is Dr. King's last efforts, Reverend Jackson will tell you. We won that struggle. We won the struggle for civil rights, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act. Civil Rights Act turned economics around 360%. Prior to the Civil Rights Act, you had 80%, 75% of our people lived in poverty, 25% middle class or working class. Now it's 360% turnaround. 75% of our folks, middle class, upper income, only 25% in poverty, a 360-degree turn. It worked. Voting Rights Act after that, 1965. At that time, we had less than 1,000 black elected officials. Now we have over 20,000 black elected officials, and we won the presidency. And so it is that this struggle for economic justice must continue, because we're winning there too. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Civil Rights Act allowed us in the mainstream America. Now we have hundreds of thousands of black professionals. We have over 2 million black millionaires. So stop begging other folks to do what we won't do for ourselves. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Some of y'all black millionaires in here today, I don't want to embarrass you. But we've won in many ways. And now we must fight for income equality, Dr. King would want us to continue to do, access to capital, to building our own businesses, Dr. King would suggest. And then reparations. They've eliminated affirmative action, don't want to give us a hand up at all after keeping us down. So we're going to go for the whole thing. We tried to be nice and accept affirmative action, diversity, equity, inclusion. We tried to go for all of the little stuff, and you took it back. But now we're coming for it all. We're coming for it all. You project to spend $600 billion in the next 6 years on the migrant crisis. $600 billion. All we need is $300 billion for 30 years, and you'll pay the debt that you owe African Americans here in America. Thank you all for listening. God bless you.
Yeah, so that was the judge dropping it down hard. Some more motivation. It's all over the place. Shout out to everybody that is standing up for reparations. The movement is growing. It's not shrinking. It's getting bigger and bigger. We're not taking no hostages. So the movement is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're doing a good job. We just got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing and we got to share the information. So that's what we got to do. We have to share the information. We have to make sure that the information flows around so that people will know the information and know the reason why we ask for reparations.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people. But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. And as I've said before, as a result of this, black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses. Once when the individual pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community. Because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community. And by being a member of the community, they're contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in black communities.
Real talk. Right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff that alienates us from being able to even get the money. You know, we're not able to even get the money because we're alienated from the money. You know, from the very beginning. So we're alienated from the money, so we don't even have an opportunity to actually get the money. And this is what we're trying to get society to see. You know, we're trying to get society to see what's really going on when it comes to the money. And so we putting the knowledge tonight. I'm putting the information out there. I don't want to take for granted that people got the information, so I'm giving you the information tonight. This is all for educational purposes, all right?
So we would like to begin by defining what we mean by reparations, so we can all, start with a shared understanding of what we believe is possible. We define reparations as a program of acknowledgement, redress, and closure for a grievous injustice. The reparations claim we want to focus on here today is not solely based upon slavery. People talk about slavery reparations, but we're not talking solely about slavery reparations. Rather, we are talking about the full scope of American history. Slavery, yes, the fiery crucible from which white supremacy emanated, but also nearly 100 years of legal segregation and white terror campaigns, more commonly known as Jim Crow. And finally, the present moment, dating from the passage of the civil rights legislation in the mid to late 1960s, that's marked by ongoing violence, police violence against unarmed Black women and men, mass incarceration, discrimination in housing, in the workplace and education, and the stigmatization that accompanies these atrocities. The acronym ARC. By acknowledgement, we mean the perpetrators of these harms admit their involvement and, importantly, admit that they have benefited from these actions. For Black Americans, this means not just a receipt of an apology, but the recognition that the commitment for redress, the R of ARC, is coming from the American people as a whole. So this is, coming from the American people, but it's coming through the American people through the actions of the federal government. So the goal of redress or restitution is to move the descendants of U.S. slavery to an equitable position commensurate with the status they would have attained had these injustices not occurred over the previous 150 years. For African Americans, restitution would eliminate racial disparities in wealth. That is the primary objective from our point of view. We're going to talk a little bit later about the racial wealth gap in some detail. But restitution also would eradicate disparities in income, disparities in education, health, sentencing and incarceration, and political participation. But the goal would be, to put Blacks in a better position to engage in American political and social life. And then lastly, closure, the C of ARC, which involves the mutual conciliation between African Americans and the beneficiaries of slavery, like legal segregation and white terror campaigns, and ongoing discrimination towards Blacks. This would require good faith and a determination to own the actions of the past, to confront the present, and vow to act differently, to act equitably going forward. Once the reparations program is executed and racial inequality is eliminated, Blacks would make no further race-based claims against the American government on the assumption that no new race-specific claims are inflicted upon them and that the old harms are not revived. Black American descendants of U.S. slavery constitute about 12% of the nation's population, yet they possess less than 2% of the nation's wealth. According to the 2019 Survey of Consumer Finance, the average Black household has a net worth of $841,900 lower than the average white household. Raising the Black share of wealth up to the Black share of the nation's population would require an expenditure of at least $14 trillion.
For us, the foundation of a reparations program rests on 4 essential pillars, all of which should be included in an effective bill for redress. First, eligible recipients must be individuals who can meet a lineage standard as well as an identity standard. Claimants must be able to trace their ancestry to a person who was enslaved in the United States. This is the community to whose ancestors the federal government promised and then denied 40-acre land grants, a valuable asset that would have gone a long way toward compensating them for generations of unpaid wages, of harsh treatment, of murder, and putting them squarely on the road to full citizenship. A government agency run by professionally trained genealogists should be set up to assist potential claimants free of charge. Eligible recipients must also meet, as I've said, an identity standard, which means that they must have self-identified as Black, African American, Afro-American, or Negro at least 12 years prior to the establishment of a reparations study commission or a reparations program, whichever comes first. Both criteria must be met for eligibility. So that's the first pillar. The second is that Black redress would bring Black wealth up to a level comparable to those held by whites. The racial wealth gap is a product of national policies that promoted white wealth accumulation and the decumulation of Black wealth. So as a consequence, that should be the target for a reparations program. Kirsten and I like to say that the racial wealth gap is the premier economic indicator of the cumulative intergenerational effects of white supremacy in the United States. The third pillar is the requirement that true reparations involve direct payments to eligible recipients. And this is how countless groups have been remunerated for the atrocities that they have experienced. Germany continues to make payments to victims of the Holocaust, and the U.S. government has made restitution to Japanese Americans who were subjected to mass incarceration during World War II in the form of monetary payments. More recently, the U.S. government paid reparations to Americans whose suffering was caused by other nations. The families that lost loved ones in the 9/11 terrorist attacks received grants from the U.S. government averaging $2 million, with some as high as $7 million. And each of the Americans who was held hostage in the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979 to 1980 was paid $10,000 per day of captivity, or about $4.4 million each.
And then finally, the federal government is the culpable party and must pay the debt. And from here to equality, reparations for Black Americans in the 21st century, we argue the federal government gave itself the right and the authority to enslave Black people and to institute nearly a century of legal segregation. It also sanctioned or turned a blind eye to nearly 100 white terror campaigns, during which the wealth gap was aggravated by the seizure and appropriation of Black property by white terrorists, frequently the very folks who had led those campaigns in the first place. In fact, the federal government is the only entity with the capacity to pay the debt. So we're going to talk about some of the detours from reparations that are very much being discussed and employed. And one chief among those is H.R. 40. But H.R. 40 is truly an unfortunate detour from a national reparations plan. It has been revised several times, most recently during the 2021 House Judiciary Subcommittee's markup session with disastrous results. We cannot provide a full account here, but the following issues are critical. First of all, the commission, this reparations commission that would be provided for through H.R. 40, would be exempt from the Federal Advisory Committee Act. So this is legislation that ensures that all commission members engage in transparent deliberations, that they hold hearings and public meetings, that they publish their agendas and provide periodic reports on their activities prior to the delivery of a final recommendation. This commission has asked to be exempt from those requirements. Narcan and Cobra rewrote the bill to provide commission members, now numbering 15, up from 7 in the original legislation, with pay at a daily rate of up to Executive 4 level on the federal scale, currently $173,000 per annum, or $253 over the course, $53,000 over the course of the 18-month timeline. Commissions of this type should be reimbursed for their expenses. And certainly their administrative staff should be paid, should be salaried, but it is inappropriate for the members themselves to receive pay. We believe this to be a sacred mission, and it is not one that should be associated with the commission members themselves receiving salaries. Curiously, a quorum can be established with 6 members, so only 6 members, not a supermajority, not even a majority. In a very odd internal process, the administrative director of the commission, who will be appointed by the chair and the vice chair, has the authority to select 6 members, quote, from the major civil society and reparations organizations that have historically championed the cause of reparatory justice, end quote, most likely Narcan and Cobra. It's important to know these organizations oppose direct payments to eligible recipients. They also advocate the creation of a national trust authority to manage reparations funds. So unlike reparations payments that have been made around the world directly to those individuals, Narcan and Cobra, through their influence over this bill, have instituted that a separate entity would manage the funds for the eligible recipients. No elected official or public employee, individuals who would be accountable to the public, may serve. In fact, federal law prohibits such individuals from receiving payments. It appears the current bill ensures that every member will be eligible to receive a salary. It's not, you wonder, if they had spent as much time in the rewrite, focusing on how best to deliver reparations to the eligible recipients and less time to how to guarantee significant salaries for the commission members, this might be some legislation that one could actually get behind, but that is not what happened. But we should be concerned about commission members who will serve only if they are handsomely paid.
So let me add that there are some substantive weaknesses that accompany the structural flaws that Kirsten just talked about with H.R. 40. And the substantive weaknesses involve the fact that there's no directive that's given to the commission about what the parameters must be of the proposals that they bring forward to Congress. And so we mentioned 4 pillars of a comprehensive reparations plan. Well, none of those 4 pillars are designated as items that must be built into the proposals that Congress receives from this commission. And so as a consequence, the commission has a completely free hand in terms of deciding what would constitute reparations. It could decide that another apology would be sufficient, or it could decide that an Evanston type of program could be replicated on a national scale, and that would constitute adequate reparations. We don't know. We do know that Narcan and COBRA oppose the provision of funds to eligible recipients on a direct basis. And we also know that they have a notion of eligibility for reparations that is inclusive of individuals whose ancestors were not enslaved in the United States. And so we're very nervous about the formation of a commission that would be heavily influenced by their perspective. In addition, there has been a groundswell of piecemeal plans, mislabeled reparations, that are diverting energy from the more difficult task of pursuing a comprehensive national program. So cities like Evanston, Illinois, which I just mentioned, passed a housing voucher program that provides $25,000 grants for families to undertake home repairs, maintenance, or purchase a new home. And these are Black families, presumably, that were subjected to discrimination in the Evanston housing market between 1919 and 1969. The total amount budgeted for the funds is $10 million. And this is pitifully low, even for a housing voucher program. In fact, thus far, only $400,000 have been raised to date from a cannabis tax, which means only 16 grants are available. And the allocation of those 16 grants, which are paid to the local banks who were responsible for the discriminatory activities in the first place, and not paid directly to the eligible recipients, the recipients of those 16 grants will be determined by a lottery. States and municipalities in general do not have adequate resources to eliminate the racial wealth gap for their residents who are Black American descendants of U.S. slavery. The bill that we mentioned totals $14 trillion in 2019 dollars. That's the minimum figure that would be required to eliminate the racial wealth gap. At the same time, the combined budgets of all states and municipalities were less than $3.5 trillion, about 1/4 of what was needed. And if the states and municipalities devoted all of their funds to a reparations project, they could not conduct any of their services that they're supposed to provide for their constituencies. Our preference always has been for state and local initiatives to be referred to as racial equity initiatives rather than as reparations. But insofar as some states and cities have established commissions that they refer to as reparations projects, we've begun to give deep thought to what these programs might look like. We highlight 2 objectives. First, these commissions actually can encourage their states or municipalities to actively lobby and petition Congress for a comprehensive national reparations program. And second, they can address harms and atrocities unique and specific to their locales. Now, this is an important task, is identifying which atrocities are really unique and specific to particular states or to particular cities. But that should be the foundation for any type of project of redress that's going to be conducted at the state or local level.
All right. So we'd like to shift just briefly to talk about Juneteenth, now a national holiday. In fact, some of you may have learned about Opal Rowland, the woman from Texas who, during Obama's administration, walked from Texas to the White House in an effort to convince him and the world really that Juneteenth should be a holiday, was my third grade teacher in Fort Worth, Texas. So I have some definite connections to this effort. But now a national holiday, Juneteenth, the 19th of June, 1865, refers to the prolongation of enslavement that was imposed upon Black people in Texas. People mistakenly say it was 2 years after emancipation. However, this is an inaccurate description. The Emancipation Proclamation did not effectively free the slaves who were under Confederate control. And Texas absolutely was under Confederate control. This only happened after the war. But many people are disturbed by the commercialization of Juneteenth, that it's become just another ballyhooed shopping weekend, complete with stereotypical images of Black people gleefully toasting their freedom with items like Walmart's, quote, celebration edition Juneteenth ice cream. So the label and the red velvet flavored dessert read, quote, the label on the ice cream, share and celebrate African American culture, emancipation, and enduring hope, end quote. The product has been pulled from their stores. This is just another purely symbolic gesture towards the Black community. It would be a different world if Juneteenth was declared a national holiday in conjunction with the launching of a national reparations plan. That would have been a response. That would have been the response if Walmart had been. What would the response have been? What would our response have been if Walmart had elected to lead the charge for a national campaign? Pushing onto TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and taking out full page ads in newspapers and magazines across the country and the world, advocating for redress for Black American descendants of U.S. slavery. That would be a cause worthy of celebration.
And that would send them to the poorhouse. Okay, that would not work because there's a bunch of white Americans against reparations and they would lose all of that money. They would lose more money than they would gain. There's a lot of hate in this country, and there's a lot of people that don't want to see us get anything. So if Walmart made that mistake, white America would have a fit. Sounds great as far as a good suggestion for them to do. But when you think through the public, it would be a big fail for Walmart. They would lose millions because it steals so many people against us. The only way we're going to get reparations is on our own. We're not going to get it with the help of white America. We're going to get it from all of us demanding it. That's how we're going to get it. We're not going to get it. Whites are not going to be able to help us get reparations. That's something we're going to have to do on our own. We're going to have to do that on our own. And we can do it on our own. We don't need nobody else. We don't need nobody. Okay? We don't need nobody. We can do this on our own. But we just have to build a strong unit. That's it. We just have to build a strong unit, and we can get it on our own. We can get it on our own. We just need a strong unit, right? Just like everybody else got it.
Breaking news. New York has secured over $183 million in compensation for Holocaust victims and their heirs. Holocaust victims, reparations. Victims of the Japanese internment, reparations. Several Native American tribes, reparations. Even slave owners got reparations for owning people as property, but the enslaved didn't get reparations for generations of being owned as property. The history of reparations payments to those who suffered injustice and their heirs is as American as apple pie. But when it comes to the American descendants of slavery, those whose ancestors' unpaid labor built the economic backbone of the nation, when it comes to Jim Crow and black land theft in millions of acres, it's like reparations, what reparations? Everyone gets a ticket to the banquet, but when American descendants of slavery show up, the kitchen's closed.
Real talk. Real talk. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go hard constantly especially when I feel like I can get the public's attention. During the election, I didn't think I could get everybody's attention like I wanted to, but now I think it's a good time to start saying, hey, what about reparations? Why are we dropping the ball on that? Why are we dropping the ball on that? Like, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing? Like, why are we dropping the ball on reparations? Why aren't we going hard for reparations? I'm just wondering. Like, we need some soldiers to really make that happen. And if we don't, like, those of us for reparations, we all we got. We're the only thing that's going to make it happen. It just is what it is. We're the only thing going to make it happen. So if we don't do it, it ain't going to get done. We the ones got to spread the history. We got to go it alone. We got to make a noise to make it look like a lot of noise. All the noise we going to have to make it. We going to have to convince people that's not pushing for it to push. It's all on us. It can't be on nobody else. It's got to be on all of us to motivate each other to push for it. I don't see no other kind of way. We can't be worrying about who's not pushing. We got to go find everybody who is. It's kind of like when they say, if you out in the woods and a bear comes, they say, make yourself look big. Well, that's what we got to do to the people against reparations. We have to make our group look big. We have to swell up. We have to get everybody we got and make it look, and kick everybody out that ain't everybody that's not with it. Get them out the way. Don't create no media for haters. If you pushing this way, why would you give somebody airtime to say this way? I get that all the time. I'm tell y'all to go this way. Somebody want to come over and say go this way, and it's like want to waste my time. And they're like, well, don't you want a different opinions? No, I don't want no different opinions because now you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. I'm saying go to the right, spending my time telling you go to the right. Why would I spend my time with somebody come tell you to go to the left? This is because the black man ain't got too used to just arguing, and ain't getting nothing accomplished. So anybody can argue. Anybody can say, no, I disagree. But how many people can get together and make something happen? That's the question. So that's why we standing on lineage. That's why we pushing lineage, but we're not really pushing lineage to beef with everybody that's not in our lineage. We're supposed to be pushing lineage to prove that we the ones supposed to get the reparations. We're not supposed to be battling nobody else. I just don't see how we going to get reparations while we battling other people. I don't see it. And to me, it's like misguided. It's misguided. You ain't standing on business. You all over the place instead of pushing for reparations. I think it's a big ass distraction to me. I think it's a distraction. I ain't going to argue with nobody over reparations and all that, because I know exactly who owe us money for reparations, all of them. And anybody can't say they do. You trying to tell me these people don't owe us money? The cotton industry? We built the cotton industry. That's one of the biggest industries in the world still today. How many clothes got cotton in it? Okay, where's our money? You ever notice how quiet they be about the cotton industry? They got a logo. Cotton is a logo. So cotton is a whole company. Because you ain't got no logo unless you're a cotton. There's a cotton company. This is their logo. Why we don't know nothing about the cotton company? So there's a company that's damn near probably responsible for all the cotton. They never speak on it. You can't find the company. You find the logo. Look, Cotton Company. It don't show Cotton Company. It's just places called the Cotton Company. But what is that logo registered under? Who are they? You know what I'm saying? Who owns that logo? They hard to find. I think it's Cotton Incorporated. Yeah, Cotton Incorporated. Now, who are they? Who is Cotton Incorporated? Does anybody know? Look, who is Cotton Incorporated? Because they show us money. Look, it's a non-for-profit company providing the resources and research behind to help companies develop and market superior, innovative, and profitable cotton products. The company efforts are focused across every area of the cotton life cycle, from fiber through finished products. So see, yeah, they want to be non-for-profit, so now we can't sue them for reparations. But how they non-for-profit? They got to be getting some profits. They doing this all for free. See the trick in the game? Non-for-profit. The cotton logo. How is the people with the cotton logo non-for-profit? And you see that logo everywhere. I smell a snake. I smell a snake. Y'all see that? That logo's everywhere. I thought for sure it's a business. It's a business, but they say, no, we not no business, Pharaoh. Now, okay, so what do y'all really do and how much money y'all making? What are y'all doing with all that money? What y'all doing with all that money if you're not a business? Where's the money going? See, they lying. Them the people behind all this stuff, and they know they was in on slavery, so to protect themselves from reparations, they didn't file their paperwork in a certain kind of way where they can't be accountable. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like some snake stuff, cooking the books, setting the books up in a way where the finger can't point back at you. No wonder they never get mentioned when they talk about slavery, because they didn't hear themselves as a business. Because they cannot tell me that logo don't represent a business. They're like, no, this don't represent no business. This represents a non-for-profit. Who believed that cotton logo go all the way back to a non-for-profit? How long that cotton logo been under a non-for-profit? That sounds like bull. You cannot tell me nobody got that logo years and years ago for no non-for-profit. They got that logo for a business, and then they probably switched that business to a non-for-profit. Facts. They got some subsidy companies that's named, all different cotton this, cotton that, cotton this, but the big parent company talking about they a non-for-profit. That look, come on, anybody believe that? These are the type of people we dealing with. They got the politicians all in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? And we need to be on their backs because cotton is the king. Cotton built all of this. The railroad didn't build this. The beef didn't build that. Cotton was king. Cotton built America. That's why they called it King Cotton, which means we built it. Why ain't Black Americans reflected the wealth that Cotton put in the country? Because the black man letting them cheat you. You let some people cheat you out your money. We shouldn't be letting them people cheat us out our money. I'm going to keep it a Billy Willie. You understand? I ain't gonna lie. I'm going to keep it a Billy. That ain't sitting well with me. I ain't feeling that. I ain't feeling it. No kind of way. You know what I mean? I ain't feeling it.
You.
I ain't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't feeling it none. Like, come on. I don't know what we gonna do as a people, about it. But we need to be doing something. You know what I'm saying? No joke.
They stay talking about they can't figure out how to act like they can't figure out how to pay us, give us our reparations for us making this country the greatest country in the world. See, we did that out free labor. Free labor, you can do a whole lot. They sending billions. I mean, over there to Ukraine and Israel. Israel already got a gang of money. They sending Israel money. How that go? Then Donald Trump already accused the boy Biden and Biden's son about fucking with that Ukraine, stealing money, doing something over there in Ukraine. When the election went off the last time, when Donald Trump exposed them and said, yeah, they over there doing wrong in Ukraine and getting that money on, get that organized money, right? But they can't figure out how to get us our reparation money. They say they get that man $69 billion, right? $69 billion. But that was just one check. That was just one shot. They had already given him 40-something billion, 40-something billion. They gave him money they gave him billions like 3-4 times already. Maybe more. They give billions to Ukraine, right? Then they sit up and now they talking about they gonna get some billions to Israel. Israel already got billions. Where's our money at, man? That's our money they doing all that shit with, man. Making all this fake money, man. Y'all better get ready, too, because they going to take that paper money. They going to want to know where you got it from. They going to say, turn it in. One day they going to say, turn that money in. Watch. Mark my word, they going to say, turn that paper money in and let us know where you got it from. And we going to give you, put it on your card. And all that money, motherfucker, accumulating going to be good for number 5 wood. All that grinding and shit, all that paper money, all that old ass paper money and shit motherfucker been had since the 60s. Feel what I'm saying? They gonna wanna know where their money came from, player. The dollar bill ain't gonna be worth shit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but no certificate. A check. It ain't nothing but a note of credit. Feel what I'm saying? So y'all better know it, man. But I understand why y'all can't figure out how to give us our money, though. Why we can't get our reparation money, though. I'm just saying, though. Why we can't get our money, though. Why we can't get our money for building this motherfucking country for free, beating our people, hanging our people and shit. Why we can't get our motherfucking money? They give everybody else their money. Why we can't get our motherfucking money? Because they don't want to see 100 million black motherfuckers with $1 million because this motherfucker gonna belong to the black folks then. That's why they won't give us our money. We know how to do something with a welfare check. Just think what we can do with $1 billion. You got women that raise 10 kids on welfare checks. Imagine what that same woman could do with $1 million. And they owe us $1 billion apiece. Why, Skip? You don't want to see no 300, 400, 500 million Negroes, millionaires. See, the few millionaires that's rapping and shit like that and acting a damn fool and taking over shit with that little rap money. So tell you if everybody got that kind of money, everybody riding Bentleys and Rolls everywhere, man. Come on, man. We didn't work for that, man. Our people didn't die for that, man. Hung, man. Only hung. I know I'm all black. I'm all black. I know my people slaves, probably got hung, got fucked up too, because I'm one of them motherfuckers that motherfucker want to fuck my ass up because I don't listen to that shit motherfucker be talking about. See, I know my motherfucker, great uncles and shit was some cold cats. I know they were some cold cats. See what I'm saying? I come from a strong black bloodline. See, I know mine didn't just, I believe mine didn't just give up like that. I believe a whole lot of mine got hung and killed and everything else. You understand me? I'll read my email. About the way them white folks treated us, baby. Don't act like you don't remember. It wasn't that long ago. We got fresh movies about how they dogged us, man. This shit real out here, man. These folks dogged us, man, killed us, hung us, man, raped our mamas and women and separated all our families and shit, sent us everywhere, man. Why you think we got people live everywhere? Be like, you look just like somebody I know, because I'm your goddamn kinfolk. Or as you admit mine, they separate mamas, daughters, sons, daddies, everybody from everybody. Since it's all over in different places. They made sure everybody went somewhere different so you couldn't team up. They split families up on purpose. They don't want no son around no mama. Because they're going to fight and kill for it. They don't want no son around his daddy because they're going to come together and kill. So they want the son by himself, the daddy by himself. They want the mama by themselves so they can rape her to death. See what I'm saying? And then work her daddy to death and then chase us down and hang us because we ain't listening. See? Well, motherfucker better listen and know what's going on, man. Pay attention to the times, man, because this shit getting crazy, man. They teach all these motherfuckers how to talk to us like robots on that motherfucker on telephone. We call them about our money at the bank and shit like that. Everybody talking like a robot, taking nigga in circles about the same thing, then tell you, I'm sorry, but ain't nothing I can do. See what I'm saying? But they finna replace their motherfucking ass up in them banks and all this shit, answering them phones. That shit finna be over with. They finna replace them with some goddamn automatic service robots. You ain't, the AI, they gonna hear everything you say and do everything you say. You don't worry about saying the same thing over and over. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna cut it short. I gotta go to the bank right quick, man. I gotta try to get my money. They sit up here, give me some money, then they won't even let me get the money. I gotta get the money. $500. I can't but $500 of my dollars. I got $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 worth of money on the damn card, and I can't get all my money. If I want all my money, I gotta go to the bank and all this. I can't get no money. I can't connect my card to the cash app, time, and nothing. Close thing, we got the reparations, that EDD money. I was in the penitentiary. So I didn't get none of it. See what I'm saying? The close thing, we got reparations with EDD money. Best thing ever happened to Negro. Thank Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? With his orange ass. You know what I'm saying? At least he ain't white, though. He's trying to get black and orange. He's trying to make it there. Look here, man. I'm going to talk to y'all in a minute, man. I got to get dressed to get up out of here, man. Radar, nigga. I'm out.
Well, there's his reparation conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's his take on reparations right there. Well, that's one of the realest takes on reparations you ever gonna hear. Yeah, but we definitely want our money. We pushing. And I'm not going to stop. That's why I'm talking about it right now tonight. Because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? So that's why I'm talking about that tonight. I'm going to be talking about it as much as I possibly can to keep the conversation going. Make sure you go follow Pay Blacks. Make sure you go follow Pay Blacks. Subscribe to Pay Blacks. Here on YouTube. On YouTube, it's going to be Pay Black Americans. So make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to Pay Black Americans. Right? There's going to be some information over there soon. It's a new channel. So there's no information over there too much yet. But coming soon. Coming soon. If you want to keep up with what's going on, that's where you go. Also, if you want to stay up with what's going on, make sure you go follow Vegan Intel. and subscribe to Vegan Intel. Okay? Subscribe to Vegan Intel. It's a lot going on. It's something you should be watching to keep you motivated about your health. Let's just say, in all seriousness, is this more so mental defeat and beat down around people since slavery where there's no belief things can be achieved? Not really. There's a lot of people believe they could be achieved. So that's why I'm telling them don't hang out with the people that don't, because they're making it look like they're going to mix everybody up. Our job is to highlight how many people is for reparations, and there's a lot of people for reparations. So when you post or you argue with people against reparations, you make it seem like it's a lot of them, but it's not. There's more people that don't even know about reparations than there is people against it. So there's more people for reparations between for and against. Then there's way more people that don't even know about reparations or even pushing reparations than there is against. So against is a small number. The bigger number is for, and the ones that we ain't got on board yet. Because reparations is not a well-known topic. It's not known about. Most people that find out think everything is known about, but reparations is not known about with the Black American community. Nobody, they don't learn that in school. Where you gonna hear about reparations at in real life? Nowhere. You're gonna hear about how good Dallas play, or how good the Philadelphia Eagles play, or how good the LeBron play. You hear that kind of stuff. But the masses ain't talking about that kind of stuff too much, because everything they watch doesn't go in that direction. And most of the masses is watching mainstream TV. You know, they're watching Netflix. If it ain't on Netflix, if it ain't on Stars, Netflix, like that, they don't know nothing about that. They come home and turn on their favorite television show or whatever, and that's all they know. Our job is to get the message out there. So we trying to get the message out there and then protect our social media, make sure nobody try to use our social media to come with the anti-message. Because they only fighting against us because we fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's not till you say you want something, they be like, oh, let's stay in a room and say we don't want it. But when you didn't say you want it, they ain't going to say nothing. They only going to be anti once you pro. So now that we pro reparations, now you got stupid blacks want to be anti. But if we wasn't pro reparations, they wouldn't be even talking about it at all. So they don't care nothing about reparations. They care about stopping us. They enemies. They want to do is stop the people that want it, because other than that, who you trying to stop? So you got these black men trying to stop the people that want it. And then some of these people might not even be Black Americans. And a lot of them, we deal with jealousy more than any other people. But among black people hate on Black Americans because we've been so successful. We've been more successful than any other black in the world. We're the most famous black people. And it's a lot of hate come with that, because we got all the Hollywood celebrities. We got all the big athletes. We got all the big superstars. We got all the big politicians. So there's a lot of hate around the world against us because we number one. Look at soccer. Soccer is one of the biggest sports in the world. But the number one soccer player ain't big like LeBron James. So they'll say, yeah, everybody in Europe know who he is, right, but don't nobody in America know who he is, but everybody in Europe know who LeBron is and over here. But I don't know these soccer players. We don't know them. Very few Black Americans know who them people is. Unless you just really into soccer. Most of the people know them people as foreign people, and the black ones be like Jamaicans and come from the islands where they play soccer. From Africa, they play soccer. Black Americans, we don't play no soccer. You know what I'm saying? We play football. Basketball, baseball. Well, we don't play baseball that much no more. We just play basketball and football now. They trying to get us to play baseball more again, but it ain't. Our neighborhood's not set up to play baseball anymore. You can't always find a team, but you can always go shoot hoops, just two people. And then football is the first thing they push as soon as you start school. That's the first sport at the beginning of the school season. So everybody in America gets familiar with football because as soon as you get to school, you've been out all summer or you just came from grade school. You just came from 8th grade, go to high school. Now it's like football. Football. You're like, what's a pep rally? You know what I mean? If you come from a little school, ain't got no sports team, you ain't been in no pep rally. And the first big pep rally and the first big homecoming and all that is all centered around football. Quiet as it's kept. So, yeah, we want to push reparations. Push, 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 push. Don't stop pushing. Okay? Don't stop pushing. Post it every now and then. Follow Pay Blacks on all the social media. Right? On TikTok. Follow Pay Blacks. Let's get this reparation things going. Let's push it. Okay? America doesn't know what's good for America. We the one got to show them it's good for America. Okay? If they want to be able to compete against China, the only way they're going to compete is invest in Black Americans. So here, this the TikTok. I'll go over there. It's going crazy over there. So it's crazy over here. And make sure your children watch this because there's more information over here than you would not believe the amount of information over here on this TikTok. Okay. I mean, you see all the brothers and sisters and everybody's intake. So that's what I love about it. It's a collection of everybody's intake, everybody's history, everybody's input. You know what I'm saying? This is fire. This information over here on TikTok on this Pay Black Americans, you go to Pay Blacks, it's going to have you, man, you're going to be sitting up watching this forever. Or you can go to Instagram. You can go to Pay Blacks on Instagram. It's over there too. It's over there too. Yeah, it's over there too. So you can go to Instagram and see it too. You feel me? So you can go to Instagram and see the same videos. Facebook too. Facebook and Pay Blacks. Anyway, Pay Blacks and watch all this information. This is some good information. Oh man. Yeah, some of these are gonna knock your socks off. You know, and keep informed on what's going on. And we're gonna be pushing it all year. All year, I am going to be pushing reparations heavy, 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 heavy. You know what I'm saying? We ain't playing no games with it. It's a battle between. We want to get reparations. It's going to be the best thing for Black people all over the world economically. You know how much money Africa and Caribbean going to make if Black Americans get reparations? Oh, they're going to be balling. So it's a real big economical boost for Black people all globally. And I think that's what they're worried about because it'll really put us in a game, a competition. And with equal investment money like that, they already know that if we got the investment money to invest in our ideas, just look if we was investing in our own, in all these movies and stuff that we making all this money for the system. They cannot make as much money off movies as we can. Not even. Their movies ain't nowhere good as our movies. Our movies is better than their movies, and we don't have the investment money. They have the investment money to do big budget movies. Imagine if we could do big budget movies. Imagine if Black Americans, imagine if Tyler Perry or 50 Cent and them could do like big budget movies. We start talking about space movies and aliens because that costs way more money. Imagine if we got a chance to do that. How far we would go. You know what I'm saying? So support the channel. Go to www.payblacamericans.com and grab some gear. All right? Victory.
Do you want to show the world that you support reparations for Black Americans? Well, get your reparations gear at Pay Black Americans at www.payblacamericans.com.